This is Hashtag History episode 62. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Leah.
And welcome back for my first episode of season 7.
Woot woot.
And for what is my first episode of the season, I had to cover something that has been on our list since the very inception of this podcast. Mm-hmm. This week, we are discussing Anna Anderson, probably the most well-known Grand Duchess Anastasia Imposter, or Anastasia, if I'm saying it correctly. Mm-hmm. After the Romanov family was executed by firing squad in 1918, it was widely believed that two of the bodies, more specifically the body of the Romanovs' only son, Alexei, and the body of the youngest daughter, Anastasia, had not been located, which led many people to believe that they had survived the massacre. In the following years, dozens of people came forward claiming to be surviving Romanov family members. The most famous of which was a woman named Anna Anderson, who in 1920 was institutionalized in a Berlin mental hospital following a suicide attempt. She was known around the hospital as Miss Unknown because no one could determine her identity. But in March of 1922, she came forward with claims that she was, indeed, the Grand Duchess Anastasia. Before we can discuss Miss Unknown, we have to talk about the Romanovs and their absolutely tragic execution. And in order to do that, I really think we are going to need a drink first.
Yes.
Okay. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Leah.
And this is Hashtag History,
the podcast for both history nerds and history haters alike,
where we dive into history's greatest stories of controversy, conspiracy, and corruption.
I'm excited about this one.
Me too.
I have to start by saying I'm slightly ashamed of this choice.
Okay.
But in honor of the Russian roots of this story, I decided to go super
classic,
a white Russian.
Do.
For a number of reasons.
Uh-huh.
Obviously, Russia.
Yes, got it.
And then also our friend Tux over at Beyond Reproach did an amazing segment on white Russians and a brief history of vodka and vodka cocktails. I highly recommend you go and listen to episode 30 from them for details on all that. He also did a story on their Instagram with like similar stuff.
They're so good at that stuff. He does such great cocktail history.
I actually I messaged him after that episode saying like, how do you... Where, how, why,
where
do you find all this information? It's like his knowledge is never ending.
Yes.
And I struggle to find like cocktail related history stories and stuff. Anyways, go check them out. They're great.
Love it.
As I'm sure most of you know, this cocktail contains 2 ounces of vodka, an ounce of Kahlua, and then a splash of heavy cream. We used half and half today.
And you were really fancy. You have a fancy espresso machine.
Yes, and I foamed our cream. So it's
beautiful.
There's a little layer of foam on top.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. I was trying to be fancy.
She said, yeah, as she was flipping her hair over her shoulder. True story.
So it's super simple, it's super sweet, and it's super yum. Oh, and I know everyone mentions this when discussing White Russians, but yes, my husband and I have a rule that we are not allowed to watch The Big Lebowski without one of these in our hands.
I love it.
And the dude abides.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's a good tradition.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I've been thinking it's time to
move on to Moscow Mules?
No, time to watch The Big Lebowski and drink a White Russian.
Oh, okay. I thought you were trying to change up tradition here.
No.
All right, cheersies.
Oh, yeah, cheersies.
Oh, my God. This tastes better than any White Russian I've ever had. And that is because it is gorge. Mm-hmm. The foam actually makes a big difference for like looks and sipping the foam. Mm-hmm. It's delicious. All right.
Okay.
Here we are.
Oh, rating.
Oh, I guess 10 out of 10 because your face doesn't feel that way. But it tastes like a White Russian. It's the best White Russian I've ever had.
Okay. I'll take that.
If it's the standard.
Well, we
on a scale. I know you're right. We don't rate on a scale of 1 to 10.
Type of drink. Yeah, it's 1 to 10 for all of the cocktails we've ever made on this show.
But I guess I just feel like kind of bad saying if I put it at like a 7 or 8 because it's my particular taste of like. No. I mean, I like White Russians. They're fine.
That's what we always do.
Okay.
That's why a lot of the times my ratings are lower than yours.
That's true. Speaking of Beyond Reproach, I remember I messaged Tux because Stephanie said something about White Russian, the drink of old people or whatever. And I was like, it me. It me. I am old people.
Yes.
It me.
Yeah. Raise your hand if you've ever felt personally attacked by Regina George.
Our hands are raised. It me. Okay, ready?
Yes.
So, first, we need to do some background on the Romanov family and their tragic execution in 1918. We need to talk about the political and social climate of Russia at this time so that we can understand why the Romanovs were murdered. Mm-hmm. And fair warning that we will not even be getting into the discussion about Anna Anderson until at least halfway through the episode, because there's just so much that we have to discuss beforehand.
For sure.
The patriarch of this family, Nicholas Romanov, was crowned the Tsar of Russia in 1894, and he was literally like, WTF. Seriously, no exaggerations here. When he inherited the throne from his father, Alexander III, who had passed away, Nicholas was like, no, thank you. Mm-hmm. He did not want to become the Tsar. He was not trained for the position. He did not desire the position, and the country was well aware of this.
Was he not the eldest son?
He was, but he doesn't want it. He didn't want it.
Interesting.
And I think, isn't that the paradox of these things is like sometimes the person that's most eligible for the position is kind of like...
That's like the guy that gave up the throne for the American lady.
Yes.
What was his name?
Prince Harry and Meghan Markle.
No, well, yeah. No,
I know exactly who you're talking about. In addition to all of this, many of his political decisions, which led to extreme dissatisfaction amongst Russians, Nicholas retracted many of the civil liberties he had promised early on in his reign. The country went through a revolution to the revolution, and they went through the extremely costly First World War, which stripped the country of food, infrastructure, and obviously human lives. Years before the World War, in 1905, a group of demonstrators that had marched on the Tsar's Winter Palace in what is now St. Petersburg to demand... what they're saying on the streets to demand reform were met with guns by the imperial forces that shot, killed, and wounded hundreds of them. This event became known as the Bloody Sunday Massacre, and Nicholas became known as the Bloody Tsar.
Nice.
It also didn't help that a large majority of the Russian public despised Nicholas's wife, Alexandra. Alexandra, the favorite granddaughter of Queen Victoria, had it rough. When she and Nicholas met when she was only 12 years old, they fell in love instantly.
When she was 12 years old?
You've never fallen in love with someone when you were 12? Your reference of love at the time?
My reference of love at the time when I was 12.
Chad Michael Murray. We were in love.
Either that or like a member of Good Charlotte, which shows you where my mental state was. You know what I mean?
That's a time capsule.
Yeah.
That's a time capsule.
Mm-hmm.
Mutual, reciprocated, or...
Girl.
But very few people approved of the marriage. Alexandra was German, and many Russians, particularly in the lead up to and immediately following World War I, distrusted Germany. Alexandra was also a naturally shy and introverted person, which caused many people to perceive her as having, well, resting bitch face.
Girl, I feel you there. Feel you there, Alexandra.
With all of the familial and religious pressure, Alexandra actually refused Nicholas's first proposal. His response to that was desperate, asking her, "Do you think there can exist any happiness in the whole world without you?"
Okay.
I know, which I find...
Nicholas, calm down.
I find that terribly romantic, and I envision that line being said as rain is pelting down from the sky and there's piano playing in the background, right?
Sure.
I had to take a pause when I researched that. That is so sweet. Do you think there can exist any happiness in the whole world without you? I love that.
That's really cute.
I love that.
You should get that engraved on a bracelet and give it to someone.
Someone.
My
husband.
Oh. And Alex.
Chad Michael
Just
Murray.
Like Alexandra. Alex.
Cute.
Okay.
Cute. Anyway.
Could you imagine sending a bracelet like that engraved to Chad Michael Murray? Do you want to know what his response would be?
A restraining order.
Yeah.
I told you I sent a letter to Daniel Radcliffe as a kid. Okay. And I sent us a photo.
You were like, I hope you think I'm cute, Daniel Radcliffe.
I sent a photo. And my hair was like...
greasy as
No, not greasy. Gelled. Because that was the thing.
So it looked greasy.
And then I had a...
Did you do the two...
Yep. And I had a puka shell necklace. Anyway, they do end up getting married pretty much because Nicholas's dad needed to secure succession before he passed. But again, for things completely outside of Alexandra's control, she wasn't able to gain the respect nor trust of the Russian public. As a royal woman, your number one goal, if not your only goal, is to birth a son to one day take over the throne.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, Alexandra birthed 4 daughters in a row.
Oh, Alexandra.
She birthed Olga, Tatiana, Maria, and Anastasia, all before birthing their son, Alexei. Shortly after his birth, though, when doctors cut the umbilical cord and he didn't stop bleeding for days, it was realized that he had developed the disease that had plagued Alexandra's family for generations, hemophilia.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. Hemophilia is a medical condition that essentially means that the person inflicted by it does not have the ability to clot blood properly, which ultimately means that someone with hemophilia could die from even the slightest of injuries if it caused them to bleed to death. Ugh. As I am sure anyone can understand, this caused Alexandra horrendous anxiety and fear, and she became overprotective of her son and even more withdrawn from the public as she cared for him. This medical condition, however, was something that was largely concealed from the general public. So again, with virtually no explanation, the Tsarina instead just looked like a jerk. We won't dive into this topic too much because there's a lot to unpack, but I think most people are also familiar with Grigory Rasputin. Obviously, Leah is. Rasputin was a mystic that told Alexandra that he could cure her son. He basically threatened the royal family by saying that if they got rid of him, their son would be dead within 6 months. This is horrendous, but they feared losing their son, so they did not get rid of Rasputin, even though there were a lot of rumors going around that he was extremely untrustworthy. Mm-hmm. He was going around and telling people that the Tsar let him have sex with the Tsarina. Apparently, for any wedding service that he performed, he slept with the bride on the first night, and Rasputin became known for giving private blessings to his female clients. Mm-hmm. As a result of all of this hatred toward the royal family, the radical far-left Bolshevik movement began to gain a lot of momentum in Russia. By 1912, they had formed their own party. When revolution broke out in St. Petersburg in March of 1917, the Tsar was forced to abdicate the throne. Nicholas and his family were placed under house arrest before being moved to Siberia. They initially lived in somewhat luxury, and I don't mean to be insensitive when I say that because they were literally under house arrest with guards watching them 24/7 and under the constant threat of execution. But when I say they lived in luxury, I mean that they were still staying in a mansion and they still had servants waiting on them for a period of time.
I mean, that's how it was back then. It was like the upper class. Like, think about like Anne Boleyn being stuck in the tower. Like, she was still being waited on and like had service and stuff, even though she was like being about to be killed. Like,
under threat of execution any moment. Yes. But as the Bolsheviks continued to seize more control in Russia, the Romanov family was eventually moved to a house that was called the House of Special Purpose in Yekaterinburg. And this is where what we would consider to be more traditional imprisonment began. The Romanov family was under constant surveillance by what would eventually become 300 guards.
Unnecessary. A little over the top, Russia.
Little much. The guards were given full permission to enter the Romanovs' room whenever they pleased. Ooh. The Romanovs were forced to speak only in Russian to one another so that the guards always knew what they were saying. They were forced to ring a bell to request permission to use the restroom. The windows of their room were covered, which provided next to no ventilation. Their food and water was rationed, and the only time they were allowed outdoors was for a half an hour in the morning and a half an hour in the afternoon for some time in the garden. There's one particular picture of the Romanov daughters while in prison that is really striking to me. I want you to check it out. Have you ever seen this picture?
No.
Yeah.
Which one is Anastasia?
Youngest one, shortest one. Mm-hmm.
So they're, it's actually quite shocking. They look happy, but they are all completely shaven bald.
Yeah.
And I'm going to assume that's not their choice.
Sort of was.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get into that. But it's just one of these pictures that is like a little shocking.
It's shocking.
These stunning pictures that we see of the Romanov daughters. And then you see this one, they're kind of older and they're bald.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. So while they were in prison, the girls all contracted measles, which caused them to begin losing their hair. So in response to this, Alexandra just had their heads shaven.
Okay.
As you can see in this picture, all of the Romanov girls have clearly aged into beautiful young women. Mm-hmm. This picture was taken shortly before their execution. When executed, they were the following ages. Olga was 22, Tatiana was 21, Maria was 19, Anastasia was 17, and Alexei was 12. After several months of imprisonment, this is where things changed. On July 17th, 1918...
Hold on. Sorry.
Yep.
Just like looking back at like my first ever like learning of this subject was literally from Anastasia, the like cartoon movie. Uh-huh. And like they paint her as being like a 6-year-old girl.
Yes.
Not.
Yes. And I do think if you were to look up right now, like Romanov daughters, Romanov sisters, most of the pictures you see of them they're younger.
Yeah.
Because the years when they were growing and aging, they were in prison.
Yeah.
We don't see a whole lot of pictures of them as these beautiful young women in their early 20s.
Yeah.
So on July 17th, 1918, the family awoke from their sleep and they were told that they needed to get dressed right away as they were being moved to a safer location.
Mm-hmm.
You were
sorry, resting bitch face.
Yeah, I guess that's what was coming through. Instead, the family was herded into the basement of the house. Nicholas requested that 2 chairs be brought into the room for Alexandra and Alexei, and the guards did so. Again, the family was under the impression that they were just waiting in this room until a vehicle arrived to transport them to another location. But instead, an execution squad entered the room and the commanding officer read aloud the formal order to execute the family. And here's a trigger warning because the execution of the Romanov family, particularly the execution of the children, is one of the worst things I have ever read. Everyone on the firing squad wanted to be the one to kill Nicholas, right? So he was shot and killed quickly with 3 bullets to the chest. Similarly, Alexandra was killed early on with a bullet to the head. But then all hell broke loose, with the children scrambling around the room and bullets being fired at random. Ugh. It was so chaotic that the room became filled with smoke to where no one could see anything. When the smoke dispersed, the squad found that none of the children had been killed, that only Maria had been shot in the thigh, but was still very much alive. And this is where I want to take a moment and pause, and I want us to really put ourselves in this moment. Don't just read the words in a history textbook or listen to them on a history podcast and not put yourself in this very moment. Put yourself in the position of being a child and watching your parents killed before you while you ran to every corner of the room and sheltered with your siblings before your assailants turned their eyes to you. It's the most gut-wrenching thing to imagine how absolutely terrified they all must have been, both because the smoke from the guns had caused confusion and because it was reported back to the basement that the gunshots could be heard for long distances outside of the house. The executioners decided to use their bayonets and stab the children to death and then shot them until they died. Who gives a shit if people are
hearing you kill? Like, who gives a shit? Oh, sorry.
I mean, they woke. No, they care. I mean, they were like, no one knew that the Romanov family was imprisoned at this location.
Well, who gives a shit? They're about to die.
I guess you're right, but they are still kind of this underground political movement that no one knew where the Romanovs were. And so
I just find bayonets so brutal. That's so...
And to children.
Yeah.
While they are huddled in a corner of the room with their siblings, hugging each other until they were stabbed and shot to death. Many of the children, at the direction of their parents, had sewn family jewels into their clothing in the months prior to keep the guards from stealing them. These jewels actually provided a layer of protection to the children for some time. If all of this is not horrendous enough, when the executioners were removing the bodies from the building, it was reported that one of the girls was still moaning. She was quickly killed. And thus, after 300 years, the rule of the Romanov family ended.
And I just wanted to, right here, step in and say, like, remember we kind of talked about when we dug into Catherine the Great that, like, these are her descendants.
Yes.
Like, these are her direct descendants. And the things and choices she made kind of helped lead to this revolution and the situation that they were put in.
Yes. That is a really, really good connection. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Interesting side note, though, that while I was in London in 2019, the Science Museum had a private exhibit about the Romanovs. You had to put your phones away. You weren't allowed to take any pictures. And I was able to see some of the dresses that the women had worn during the execution.
Holy shit.
It was really amazing. You could see the pockets that they had sewn into their dresses to hide the family jewels, and you could see the holes from all of the bullet entries. In total, the execution lasted approximately 20 minutes with 70 bullets fired. So I have a picture here of the execution room, and it's devastating.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So it's a nice looking room. But then there's
love the decor.
Chunks out of the wall where obviously the bullets hit and just tore apart the walls. So there's people in front of that. So
yes,
devastating.
The bodies were stripped naked and poorly discarded in a shallow and marshy grave where they were covered in acid and burned.
That's just so unnecessary.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm that pause, that hesitation wasn't because this is acceptable anyway. Yeah. I'm kind of going to explain a little bit more, but also just they didn't want anyone to find these bodies.
Okay.
Because this is like revolution. This is unrest in Russia right now. Yeah. The Bolsheviks do not speak for everyone. And there were people that still supported the Romanov family, didn't know where the Romanov family was, hoped and believed they were still alive, and maybe we're going to make a comeback.
Yeah. Okay.
When the grave proved to be too shallow, even after dropping a grenade that they had hoped would collapse the mine and further conceal the bodies, they ended up digging up the bodies again and found a different shallow grave. When they did this, though, they separated the bodies of Alexei and one of the younger girls, either Maria or Anastasia, from the rest of the bodies, simply in an attempt to keep someone from stumbling upon all of the bodies at once. Initially, the Bolsheviks announced that they had killed only Nicholas and were continuing to imprison Alexandra and her children. But it was clear that they had every intention of removing all Romanovs from the face of the earth. In fact, over the next 3 months, they would kill a total of 27 other Romanov family members and friends.
I understand the thinking. It's like, well, there's a line of succession,
yep.
So of course we have to kill all these people. But it's just so, I don't think people care if, Gregor, the second cousin of Nicholas.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's gonna name him Tsar at this point.
Yeah, there's so much civil unrest at this point.
Yeah.
Good point. It wouldn't be until 1979 that the bodies would be discovered, and not until 1991 that they were confirmed to be those of the royal family.
I had never heard that.
The year of your birth.
My birth.
Is when it was confirmed that this was the Romanov family.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And it wouldn't be until 2007 when the remains of Alexei and it was Maria that were discovered and confirmed.
Okay.
But in the years between the execution and the discovery, this is where the mystery and the rumors began to circulate about surviving members of the royal family. Everyone wanted to believe that someone, particularly one of the children, had survived this horrendous assassination.
Of course.
Of course you want that.
Yeah.
And it is in this climate that Anna Anderson would emerge.
I'm TK, your guide to the past as we uncover the people, events, and little-known facts hidden in the shadows of your old history textbooks. From Empress baddies to activist profiles, turkey gods and the history of the toothbrush, tattoos, Pompeii peepees, and everything in between, you can find it all here. There's no telling how far we'll dig or how many historical facts we'll re-examine. No event is too small, and no topic is too big, because this is for the love of history.
On February 27th, 1920, so just 2 years after the tragic Romanov execution, an unknown woman was rescued before jumping off of the Bendlerstrasse Bridge in Berlin. She had zero papers on her to identify herself. Her clothing didn't even have labels on them to help identify her that way. One other thing odd about her was that she had scars all over her body. She was taken to an asylum where she refused to speak for at least the first 6 months.
6 months?
Amazing, right? When I'm giving someone the silent treatment, it lasts for a total of 2 hours.
That's even long for me.
When she finally did speak up, she spoke German, but was described to have a Russian accent. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
2 years later, a fellow patient at the psychiatric facility began claiming that she had met the Grand Duchess Tatiana while she was a patient at the same asylum. But when Baroness Sophie Buxhoeveden went to visit the mysterious Miss Unknown at the hospital to see for herself, she stated that there was no way she could be Tatiana because she was too short. Mm-hmm. The unknown woman's response was, "I did not say I was Tatiana." Some were convinced that she was indeed the daughter of the last Tsar, and when the mystery woman was presented with a list of the names of the 4 daughters of the last Tsar, she crossed off each of the names but that of the Grand Duchess Anastasia. It was also suggested that perhaps she had received all of those mysterious scars on her body from the assassination attempt. So perhaps we should check out a picture now of this woman. This is Anna Anderson. Kind of like side by side, we have a young picture of the Grand Duchess Anastasia, and then we have Anna Anderson.
In my opinion, looks nothing alike.
Okay, I thought you were going in the opposite direction, and I completely agree with you. Yeah, they don't look alike.
Nothing. Like, Anna Anderson has much bigger lips than Anastasia does. Their brows are... I always look at the brows. Mm-hmm. Their brows are completely different.
And I think that's a good place to look because my face has changed a lot. Like, even my nose has changed since I was a teenager, but my eyebrows have stayed... I mean, other than the fact that I now know how to pluck them and,
they're
and
not,
groom them.
They're not like a pencil line on your
now
forehead.
That they're not a pencil line on my forehead, but they still, like, the bone structure of my eyebrows is exactly the same as it has always been.
Yeah, and then noses. Well, like you said, noses changed.
My nose has changed just, like, I don't know how, but, like, my nose got thinner or just my face got wider.
I've definitely grown into what we call the Walconus nose.
Well, and that's what I was going to say is like, I've grown into my nose. Yeah. There are pictures of me when I was like 12, 13 and my nose is taking up the entire picture. Yeah. And that's not me being mean to myself. That's the truth.
Yeah. So anyways, in my opinion, no way in hell these are the same person.
I appreciate that because there were people that felt very differently than you and I.
I don't understand how.
Wow. She began referring to herself as Anna Tchaikovsky, Anna obviously being short for Anastasia, and after leaving the asylum was housed by those who believed her claims.
Oh, let me just also insert here. They're both beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, both beautiful. For the next decade, actually, Tchaikovsky would move from castle to castle at the graciousness of her supporters.
So, like, she actually lived in splendor because of this.
Mm-hmm. People that believed her and supported her and financed her lifestyle.
Holy shit.
So, was Anna Tchaikovsky really Anastasia? People had varied experiences with her. Some were absolutely convinced that she was the Grand Duchess after meeting with her. One particular story is that Zina Tolstoy, who was a close friend of the Romanov family, she went to visit Tchaikovsky. Tolstoy played a song on the piano that sent Tchaikovsky into tears. Like crying, hysterical, on the floor, tears.
I mean, most music does that for me, so...
Tolstoy began crying too and asked Tchaikovsky, "Do you remember this song?" To which Tchaikovsky replied, "Yes." Tolstoy intentionally played a song that day that she used to play for the Romanovs when they were children.
Here's my thing. If I have made my life comfortable from lying, it's very easy to say yes.
You're right. She didn't provide additional details.
She said, you played this for me when I was a young child. Nothing like that. No.
I guess you have a very good point.
A straightforward answer. I exhibited some sort of emotion. And so you work your own assumptions. You project your own emotions and your own memories onto the situation. Because to me, her response does not elicit any kind of proof that she is.
I super appreciate your perspective because when I first heard the story, I didn't look at it with the same perspective as you. I kind of did look at it as like, I don't know, she instantly started crying when she started playing the song. Like, oh my God, it must have some kind of memory for her.
No, okay, so you play a song for me and I know you're looking for something.
Good point.
I know you're looking for something, so I'm going to cry.
Yeah.
Because that could mean happiness. That could mean sadness. Crying could mean whatever the you want it to mean.
It could also just really mean, like you said, like music can elicit an emotional response.
Yeah. Okay,
if it's a beautiful song.
I'm going to make myself cry. And then you ask me, do you remember this song? I already know that means, I should remember
you
this.
already know
I
the
say
response.
Yes. Yeah. I don't give any other details.
Yeah.
And then you read into it what you will.
Yeah. You are an FBI agent.
Master manipulator.
There's also this other really interesting story in which a former nanny of the Romanov family came to visit Tchaikovsky when she wasn't feeling well. Tchaikovsky asked her if she would massage her head with cologne, which was something that this nanny had actually done back in the day only for Anastasia. It's a bit of a unique pastime, right? And it definitely makes you question if Tchaikovsky could know things like this if she wasn't indeed Anastasia. Mm-hmm. But others reported having very different experiences with Tchaikovsky. One aunt in particular came to visit her to scope out the situation. She gave a false name when she came to visit, and halfway through the meal, she proclaimed, "Don't you recognize me? Don't you know your Aunt Irene?" To which Tchaikovsky responded by storming off and not returning. There were several other occasions upon which other Romanov family members or friends would come to visit Tchaikovsky, and she would refuse to see them. Perhaps she was afraid they would immediately discount her claims upon seeing her, or perhaps she was afraid they would ask her questions that she wouldn't know the answers to.
So notice all of the people that are like, yes, this was them.
Yeah.
Are people that like maybe only peripherally knew her or weren't like family.
And I would say as well, even as close as you are to someone, everyone grieves differently.
Yeah.
And so some people grieve in the way that like, please, God, please let this be her. And you project that on someone.
Yeah.
And some people grieve in a way that they're more speculative.
Yeah.
Like, better not be trying to play me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so they also project that. They project more negative,
yeah,
speculative thoughts on that person.
I think that it reads more into, yeah, like you said, the mental states of the people visiting her more so than
anything else.
Reality.
Yep.
Yeah.
It also has to be noted that Anna Tchaikovsky could not speak Russian, English, nor French. All languages that Anastasia could speak.
Yeah, that is actually a huge thing to me because a royal princess, essentially, who was raised to speak multiple languages, and that's literally their whole life. I don't care what kind of trauma you've gone through, you would remember that.
Yeah.
I mean, I even remember parts of my high school French that I took.
And that is like a big piece of like a lot of psychologists looked into this and disagreed about like that is literally ingrained within you if like as a child you were taught all these languages and you spoke all these languages, whereas other people are like, I don't know, she went through like such severe trauma, literally maybe part of her brain blocked this stuff out.
My thing is like, okay, I understand not being able to speak it fluently, but you can't tell me like that bonjour means like
sure,
hello,
sure,
which maybe she could, I don't know, but I'm just saying like,
yeah. The biggest of all of these was her inability to speak Russian. That was the one that was particularly worrisome because that was her mother language.
Yeah, that's her native language.
Yes. But even still, there appeared to be some physical evidence to prove that Tchaikovsky was indeed Anastasia.
I'm so ready for this. Give it to me. I'm going to shoot it all down.
They had a graphologist analyze Tchaikovsky's handwriting and determined that it was identical to that of Anastasia.
Okay.
This one here, I just kind of laugh about a little bit. She also had bunions like Anastasia, which, hi, welcome to the Bunion Club.
Yes, I was going to say, as does every other dancer.
Yeah, I was going to say, you and me growing up in the dance world, we got the buns.
Yeah.
Not the hair buns.
No.
The feet buns.
Both, really.
We have all the buns. But she had bunions like Anastasia, and well-known anthropologists confirmed that no two faces could be more alike without belonging to the same person.
I am gonna shoot that one down.
You're not an anthropologist?
I don't give a shit. Their bone structure is different.
I don't know. Maybe an anthropologist knows more than you and I.
You mean
podcasters.
You mean me fully consuming a white Russian and maybe a little tipsy doesn't know better than an anthropologist.
I'm just saying there's a possibility that there's a difference in like expert knowledge arenas.
But can you also acknowledge that anthropologist might also have some sort of emotional investment in this situation?
Do you have any emotional investment?
Do I? I don't.
Do I?
I have zero. I have zero. I don't give a shit. I mean, I do for like history. It's interesting, but like
other than that, nah.
Yeah,
nah. One particular member of the family.
Bunions. I'm sorry.
No, she also had bunions. I'm like, were they rare? At that time, I didn't look into bunion history.
Were the bunions in a weird spot? Like what?
I didn't look into bunion history, but as far as I'm concerned, 100% of the people in this room right now have bunions. So
Or at least like the onset of them, right?
Oh, no, I have them.
Yeah.
One particular member of the family, though, Tsarina Alexandra's brother, Ernest Louis, remained unconvinced that Tchaikovsky could be the lost princess. He hired a private investigator to determine who this Anna Tchaikovsky person really was. It was revealed that Anna Tchaikovsky was actually a woman named Franziska Shanskowska. Shanskowska had been a factory worker in Poland when she learned that her husband, or fiancé, depending on which source you read, had died during the World War. She fell into a deep depression. Shortly thereafter, while working at the factory, she dropped a grenade and it exploded. Although she was only minorly injured, some reports say that the explosion killed someone right in front of her. Following this incident, she actually went through 2 stints in 2 separate mental institutions, both of which she allegedly escaped from prior to the suicide attempt on the bridge in 1920. When all of this was revealed, Franziska's brother Felix visited her and confirmed that she was indeed his sister, even though she said she did not recognize him.
Part of me is like, I can't blame her for wanting to just live a different life than this horrifying thing that you lived through. Yep. But, I mean, you're not her. There's zero doubt in my mind. This woman is not the same person.
I think, especially after seeing the picture I'm about to show you, you will feel even more ingrained in what you already believe, because I have a side-by-side picture here for us to check out of. So we have Franziska Tchaikovsky around the time that she was working at the factory, and a picture of Anna Tchaikovsky 10 years later when all of this information was revealed.
Okay. It's the same person.
Yeah.
And again, exactly what was said for the last one. I'm looking first at the brow bones, and the brow bones match up perfectly. Mm-hmm. And then I'm looking at the lips, and the lips are exactly the same.
Mm-hmm. Following all of this publicity, Tchaikovsky made a move to the United States, where she checked into a hotel under the name of Mrs. Anderson. And here forward, Anna Tchaikovsky, Franziska Shanskowska, the Grand Duchess Anastasia, is now known as Anna Anderson. Mm-hmm. And thank God, because that's a lot easier for me to pronounce. Yeah. Anderson had many supporters here in the United States as well, and she continued to live a similar lifestyle as she had overseas. Supporters essentially funded her and provided her with housing.
I feel like people are just like, ooh, I have someone famous in my house, so of course I'm not going to question it.
Yeah, project. But she had severe mental health issues. There are stories of her wild behavior, her rage in particular, stories of her running around naked on a rooftop, and another story of her killing her own pet parakeet. The New York Supreme Court ended up committing her to a mental hospital for a year. Following this, she returned to Germany, where she was placed in another mental institution.
Okay.
While back in Germany, the Nazi government arranged for the Shanskowska family to meet with Anna Anderson, again to confirm her identity once and for all. But because this meeting was arranged by the Nazis, the Shanskowska family was told that if they did indeed accept Anderson as one of their own, she would be immediately imprisoned.
Oh.
And thus, the family refused to sign affidavit stating as such. This is all really unfortunate because it just continues to fuel the mystery. Did they refuse to sign the affidavits because they really didn't believe Anna Anderson was their family? Oh. Or because they know for a fact that she was, and out of love for family, they did not allow her to be in prison for the lies she was telling.
Yeah. I cannot imagine that they would ever say, like, oh, yeah, that's our cousin. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yep. Like, and then knowing that meant that she would be in prison for the rest of her life.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Either way, this would be the last time that the Shanskowska family would ever see her. Anderson fell once again into a deep depression, and when she was located in her cottage in 1968, she was found semi-conscious. She was surrounded by some 60 cats that had destroyed her living conditions. Sadly, all 60 of these cats would be put down, and when Anderson found out about this after relocating to another mental institution, she took up a supporter's offer to return to the States. Just before her 6-month visa was to expire, Anderson married a man 20 years younger than her, Jack Manahan.
Excuse me, Jack? What are you thinking?
Well, he was very well off.
Sure. I'm not questioning her motives.
But obviously
he was younger and rich. Like, yeah, Anna, get it. Like, I was thinking, Jack, what are you doing?
He was a believer.
Okay.
He was a believer.
Okay.
He was very well off, like I said, but they lived together a hoarder lifestyle with way too many animals, Anderson continued to be in and out of mental institutions until her death from pneumonia in 1984.
That's probably due to cat feces and pee.
I'm confident of it.
No, there's zero question. If you were a cat hoarder, you
die because
of
your living conditions,
and you die of pneumonia. It's because you were breathing in the cat pee.
Yeah. Like I mentioned earlier in the episode, the bodies of the royal family would not be tested until 1991. And when they were initially found, the bodies of Alexei and either Maria or Anastasia were not amongst them. This fueled all the flames for Anna Anderson. Perhaps she had been telling the truth all this time. But DNA tests were conducted, and it was finally, officially confirmed that Anna Anderson was not a Romanov after all.
Yeah. Now, what do you think about that, Jack?
Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of #History.
We will, of course, share all of the pictures we discussed on this episode to our Instagram, and all sources used to put together this episode can also be found on our website at #history-pod.com.
And when you check out those pictures on our Instagram, let us know what you think. Does Anna Anderson look like she could be Anastasia or not?
Yes. Please support my theory that is not even a possibility.
And then subscribe to us on whatever podcast platform you use. Share about us with your family and friends. And then we would love it so much if you would give us a rate and review.
And then hopping right back to Instagram, be sure to check us out on there at #history_podcast.
And then come join us over on Patreon, where for as little as $1 a month, you can help support our books and booze supply. You get access to some behind the scenes content, and we mail you cards and stickers and pretty much just have our infinite love.
Also, we give you a shout out on Instagram.
Yes. Yes, we do that as well. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
See, I'm the bass.
I see it now.
Yeah. With a Moscow mule. No. That's what it says.
Is that what you were originally going to do?
Oh, with a white Russian. With a white Russian. For a number of reasons.
Was Moscow Mule the original idea?
No. And look, I put it multiple times. And it says Moscow Mule, and then the ingredients is Kahlua and vodka. Like,
for you, Russian drinks they're the same. They're interchangeable.
Is that like a AO it me thing? What is that?
You've never seen that?
What? No.
Are you being serious?
Yeah.
It me is old. Welcome. I thought you were on TikTok. I thought you were part of the next generation.
Degrassi, the next generation.
Wow, no one of my sister's generation knows what Degrassi is, right?
No, probably not.
And fair warning that we will not. Okay, and for dissatisfaction. That's not a word. Dissatisfaction.
Nope, that was Nico winning some sort of achievement on the Xbox. I've been notified.
That's fantastic.
I'm tipsy as.
I just looked and noticed that your whole drink was gone. I did like one of these. I did one of these where I was looking at you and then I was like,
because you see me like swaying here. Like,
no, you sounded brilliant.
Great.
But I just out of the corner of my eye was like, how are we doing? How are we lining up? Oh,
my eyes cannot focus. That's how we're lining.
They
up.
cannot fuck us. My eyes cannot fuck us. The bodies were stripped. This is such a like. Oh my god, blah blah. The bodies.
Our skin looks so great. The bodies were stripped.
Their legs were cut off. Their arms were cut off. Yeah. Their eyebrows were then bleached. That had discovered her living conditions.
Destroyed.
Thank you. The cats discovered the living. They're f***ing geniuses.